Hello everyone, it's Anasika from Embellishments.com, and I am super thrilled to be a part of Justine's Save the YouTuber blog hop for 2018. I'll be sharing a emboss resist kind and oxide inks kind of a technique. I just picked some random stamps from my stash, all background stamps, and since these are rubber foam, I needed to take out the foam pad from my Misty. The papers I'm using here are Neenah Solar White 80-pound cardstock, and I am using a powder tool to make sure that my VersaMark ink and embossing powder will be the only things sticking together. Basically, I'm preventing the embossing powder from sticking anywhere where I don't want it to be. You can get this application from EK Success, which is just a pure powder form, and then you can get these pouches from various companies. And I always keep my white embossing powder and my clear one as well in these containers, and that just makes cleaning up oh so easy. And these background stamps I use, the first one was from Simon Says Stamp, and this is a Hero Art background stamp. And basically I'm just placing the card in the corner and making sure to coat my stamp with the VersaMark ink as generously as I can, and then I'm just rubbing to make sure that there'll be no gaps in my stamping. If that happens, it's no biggie, I can always cover that up somehow. But for the most part, it looks good 98% of the time. And that's good enough for me. Now, when I'm making these several backgrounds at once, I usually stamp and add the embossing powder to them, and then I just set them aside and I basically melt the embossing powder with my heat gun all at once. And now, since I am placing my cardstock in the middle-ish or so in the platform, I like to add a bit of glue just to make sure that it's not moving anywhere while I'm stamping. And this background is also from Simon Says Stamp, and it won't be covering the background completely, but that is totally fine, because I will be die cutting these pieces anyway. And I do like the details of this stamp. One of my favorite ones, so pretty. And I also keep a little spoon in my container. Basically, I'm trying everything to make sure that my craft table stays as clean as possible. Now that I have heat embossed all these backgrounds, I am reaching for my Distress Oxide inks, and the ones I'm using here are Mermaid Lagoon and Salty Ocean. I am not really going for a ombre kind of a look to it. I just want it to be a two-toned kind of colors. So these blues are not too far apart, but it's just a little hint of difference, and I really like that. It just adds a bit of depth to the whole image. And I'm just applying this generously and trying to keep it dark at the bottom and the top, and having it go a bit lighter in the middle. And then I'm just taking a paper towel just to make sure that nothing is sitting on top of that pretty white embossing powder, and I can enjoy the pretty pattern finally. And I really like working on these larger paper mats or backgrounds, I guess, because even though I could use my multi-medium mat or anything under it, this just makes it a bit easier. I'll just rip it off and use the next one. And now it's for the pinks, and I used Worn Lipstick and Picked Raspberry, and these two colors are quite different. They're not as similar as the blue ones were, but I really like the way they look together. As you can see, the picked raspberry is really bright pink, and I actually love that. And then I just have them meet in the middle or thereabouts, and that just adds to the whole, I don't know, funkiness of the card, I guess. And then I'm reaching for my last color combo, and that is Lucky Clover and Cracked Pistachio. These two greens are just stunning. I love them. One is really rich green and the other one is quite light and playful, really. But I do love them together on this background. And as I did before, I'm just adding them a bit heavier to the ends of the cardstock, because I do want them to kind of fade together when they meet in the middle. And these greens just look so pretty together. Oh, just love them. And now I'm just buffing away all the extra, and there you have all three backgrounds ready. And now, when you are using Oxide inks, I absolutely love the effect that they can create by using water or any other mists. So here I'm using a white sparkly mist from Hero Art, and I'm doing this in 3 different kinds of ways because I want to see how it looks. So this one I started by adding the glimmer mist, and it gets really sparkly and pretty. And then I'm adding splatters of water here and there just to get the oxide kind of look to the background. And by adding the glimmer mist before I do the water splashes, I get a really subtle oxide effect. And here I'm adding the sparkly mist in splatters and then the water at the same time, and dabbing them off again. That is really sparkly and really subtle, so I wanted to add more water because I wanted a bit more of an oxide look to it. And now for my last one, I decided to do the water splashes first to get the most of the oxide look I could, and that really catches, well, gets more dramatic in a way. You get more oxidey kind of a look to it. And then I'm adding my glimmer mist and just spreading it all over, and that gives it a beautiful shine. I absolutely love this mist. And here they are already. And just before you die cut them, make sure that these are fairly dry, at least so they're not too wet, just fairly dry. And I'm using my Simon Says stitched rectangle die, and now I have them all die cut. I have these pretty little pieces, and they all have that tiny stitched border to them. Absolutely stunning background pieces. And since my backgrounds are quite colourful and sparkly and oh so pretty, I wanted to use this horse carousel die from La La Land Crafts, and I die cut 6 pieces from Neenah Solar White 80-pound cardstock and 3 pieces of glimmery white diamond cardstock from Simon Says Stamp. That is a beautiful white shimmery cardstock, and I wanted to make sure that the carousel pieces had a bit of dimension to them, but I didn't want to make them too bulky. So I am stacking 2 white ones from the Neenah Solar White cardstock, and I'm just using the Nuvo glue, which is absolutely fantastic glue. And then the third layer will be the shiny cardstock on top. I really like how just stacking these together will create a brand new kind of embellishment without much effort. And we all have plenty of cardstock around. And of course you don't have to use white all the time, you can use color as well. And then for the background, I just use my ATG gun to stick the background pieces to the card base, and I'm just keeping it centered-ish. I'm not being too precise, I'm just eyeballing it really. And this is standard size cardstock, and the card base is a Neenah Solar White, £110. And now I'm just adding my carousel horse to that background, and I'm keeping it centered-ish as well. And I'm using that same glue as I did for the stacking. Now I want to make sure that my carousel was parallel to the background piece, so I just use my Tim Holtz ruler to make sure that it is in a straight line from the bottom of that background that we created. And I'm just doing the same thing to the other two cards. And I really like how these cards look. They look so colorful, shiny, but yet they are simple enough to use for any kind of an occasion. And I really love those kind of cards. And again, I'm just using my Tim Holtz ruler to keep them straight-ish. Like I say, I'm not too bothered with measurements that much, as long as it looks alright or centered-ish, I am happy. But of course, if I make a huge mess, I need to redo the whole thing. And yes, that has happened more than once. But that's the fun of card making, and well, making anything by hand really. You won't always get perfection. And that's the last carousel horse. And of course I am a sucker for anything that shines or sparkles. So I decided to reach for my jewel stash, and since I am lucky enough to have loads of them, because I can't help myself when I'm buying craft supplies, I use greens, blues and pinks. And for the green card I'm using green jewels in Shamrock from Pretty Pink Posh. And I'm just adding them to the pieces of the carousel that I think that might look good if they had some kind of an embellishment or anything colourful to add. It's no rhyme or reason, I'm just going by what I think looks good and basically hoping that it will work. And I just love using these beautiful jewels. And there are so many companies that are starting to create not only sequin mixes, but these beautiful jewels in all the colors of the rainbow. And what's fun with these jewels is that you can create your own kind of embellishments, just like I'm doing here with the my die, cardstock and jewels, and I'm just making my own stuff as I go along, which is always fun too. The pink ones that I use on the pink cards are from Lucy's Cards, and the blue ones that I used on the blue background are also from Pretty Pink Posh, called Blue Lagoon I believe, but I will have links to everything down below. And that is my card almost done. I want to thank Justine Howie for organizing this amazing hop. I mean, this hop is absolutely fantastic and I'm thrilled to be a part of it. So thank you so much, Justine. And don't forget that you have your next YouTuber here next to me, and I'll leave a link to that in the comment section. It's actually the first thing you see in the comment section, so make sure you click on that link. And I'm also giving away a $25 gift certificate to scrapbook.com. So if you want to have a chance at winning that giveaway on my video, all you have to do is make sure that you comment below on this video before November 7th. So make sure that you leave a comment, and I'll be ever so thrilled if you would consider subscribing to my channel. And again, just thanks everyone for participating, and make sure that you visit as many blogs as you can, because I do love these blog hops, so I can actually discover people that I hadn't heard about before, and that is the best part about the whole thing. And then you have here some still shots of my finished cards. And again, thanks ever so much for stopping by and having a look at my creations. And don't forget to go to the next blog on this blog hop, and of course visit Justine Howie's for all the important information. See you later.